Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Here we go.
Hello, I'm Sergeant Efrain Cornejo. As part of the Milwaukee Police Department's continuous commitment to be transparent with our community, we created community briefings to provide information to the public regarding officer-involved critical incidents. Community briefings are intended to provide relevant information which may include video footage, audio recordings, photographs, and other evidence. It is our priority to release this information and inform our community as soon as possible, unless releasing the information will compromise the integrity of the investigation. When watching this video, keep in mind that this may still be an ongoing investigation. For privacy purposes, we have concealed audio and images of community members captured in this video. The video you are about to see may contain officers using force, explicit language, and disturbing images. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Hello, I am Inspector Shannon M. Seimer-Tabasca with the Milwaukee Police Department. In this community briefing, I'm going to share with you information regarding circumstances surrounding the officer-involved shooting of a citizen while responding to a call for service for a welfare check. A concerned neighbor made the call on behalf of her elderly neighbor whom resided with an unrelated adult male, subject in the 2300 block of North Booth Street on the city's north side on the evening of November 14th, 2022. Upon arrival to the residence, an officer encountered the adult male subject.
I really wish that they would have provided a lot more detail about the call itself, because all they say is it's a check welfare. People will call in check welfares for, I haven't heard from, Bob in 3 days. It's not unlike that. Could someone go check on him, make sure he's still alive? He's really old. He could have fallen and hurting himself. It could be something like, well, Mary was, she just got back from the hospital. She had a heart attack, and I ain't heard from her since she got back. Could someone go check on her? It's generally people who haven't heard back from someone in some time, or it could be someone who, they're just not acting right. They could say, oh, Billy, he lost his job. He just ain't acting right. He was talking kind of funny. Could someone go check on him? Those are kind of like the check welfare kind of calls. And they mentioned that she was residing with an unrelated adult male. So I'm guessing that could mean that he is boyfriend, maybe. I don't know. They didn't word it like that, so not really sure what's going on there. And again, that could be another check welfare kind of call too. That could be, well, such and such has been having problems with, their spouse. They've been arguing a whole lot. He's, they've hit him in the past. Haven't heard from him. I want someone to check on him. So I really wish they would have provided some more clarity on the circumstances of that call, because if it was something like, I haven't heard from her in the last 5 days, that's not unlike her, could someone go check on her, I could understand them just sending one officer to the call. If it was something of the nature of, well, they've had prior domestics, he's got anger problems, and she was saying that, yesterday they weren't having, they were having some issues, and I ain't heard from her since. Can someone go check? That in of itself, I think, would require 2 officers to go to something of that nature. But since they do not provide any information about the nature of that check welfare call, I can't do any more commenting on that. But it is just one officer all by himself who goes to this call. And I've watched this already. I used to watch them all in the very beginning when I started doing these videos, and then I stopped because it just, like, if it's a 30-minute video or 15-minute video, I watch the whole damn thing, learn it, and then go back and do the video. That's like 2 or 3 hours. I mean, it's maybe not that long, but really depending on the video itself, on how long it is, it adds a lot of time. So I started to stop pre-watching them and just quote-unquote fucking do it live, where I just comment from the video as it's going on. And the description of what was going on in this video was confusing me, because she was talking about this guy, and you'll hear it, he's picking up a brake rotor and he's putting it behind the door and shutting the door with it, and I'm trying to like follow along in my head the description of what the fuck she's talking about, and I couldn't. So I was like, I gotta stop recording and watch this whole video. That's an interesting one, so bear with me.
Who initially spoke to the officer by opening a residence window.
Let me back this up a little bit.
2. Upon arrival to the residence, an officer encountered the adult male subject, who initially spoke to the officer by opening a residence window and then allowed the officer into the residence. Upon the officer entering the residence, all the lights were off. The subject carried a brake rotor from the common hallway into the residence, closed the door behind him, and placed the brake rotor against the door, the only entry and exit point for the residence. While in the residence, the officer observed a deceased body of an elderly woman. The subject stated she was dead. At this time, the officer called for additional squads to respond and attempted to detain the subject, but the subject resisted. The officer disengaged and gave the subject several commands to get on the ground, while the subject stated multiple times, "Shoot me in the face, please shoot me." The subject got on the ground, at which time the officer attempted to place handcuffs on the subject. The officer was able to secure the subject's right hand with the handcuffs when the subject resisted, and a struggle ensued. During the struggle, the officer hit the emergency button on his radio, and the officer's body-worn camera fell from his body. During the struggle, the subject was able to arm himself with a 2.5-foot metal pole and attempted to strike the officer with the pole. The officer verbalized multiple commands to stop resisting and to drop the pole. The subject attempted to disarm the officer by grabbing for his firearm. The officer then attempted less lethal force with the deployment of his taser. However, the taser was not effective. The subject then picked up the brake rotor and threw it in the direction of the officer, at which time the officer discharged his firearm, causing non-fatal wounds to the subject. The brake rotor barely missed the officer, striking a rear wall, which caused a hole in the wall before falling to the floor. The following is the officer's body-worn camera video and audio of the struggle that ensued between the officer and the subject.
All right. So since we don't see this later on
The
in the
brake
video,
rotor barely missed the officer, striking a rear.
So since we don't see this later on in the video, we'll talk about this. This is a brake rotor, right? Like, so you look at your car, you see the tire, right? The rubber piece. You take your whole tire off, and there's a round metal thing. That's that. And there's some stuff that's on it, like looks like it's clamped onto it. That'll be your brake pads. This is heavy. It is full, thick-ass metal, steel. And that will bash a person's skull in pretty easily. So this is definitely a deadly weapon that this guy tried to use like a freaking frisbee or boomerang or rock or something and launched it at this officer. Had this hit the officer in the face or the head, it could have seriously stunned him enough to give that guy an advantage to take over him, or could have just flat out knocked his ass out.
Wall, which caused a hole in the wall before falling to the floor. The following is the officer's body-worn camera video and audio of the struggle that ensued between the officer and the subject.
All right, so now we get into the video, and now you can kind of better understand what she was trying to describe. So we don't see him talking to the guy through the window or him making the approach or anything. It just starts right here at the door. I wish they would have included the interaction with the guy through the window, but they didn't.
Good. After you? No. You said you gotta make sure you got an animal or something? Yeah. Go ahead. What, this one? Yeah. Okay. What's that for?
Oh no, to block the door and it swings open.
Ah, gotcha.
So that in of itself was just weird. Like, this guy is already acting weird. He's making, like, so far, like, he has not really, like, structured any sentences or, you know, anything in depth. He's just kind of grunting and, in the room. And he picks up this big-ass fucking chunk of metal. And then walks into the room and closes the door and then sets it down on the door to lock it in. This should have been the moment this officer was like, hey, something's wrong.
You want to just knock on the door for me?
Rocky? She's laying in bed.
Hey, Dorothy!
20, please.
Where's your bed at?
Yeah.
After you. You got any lights there?
Yeah.
You got the lights on?
I guess you can pay the bill.
Oh. Hey, you just go in there for me?
Yeah, no.
What do you mean?
She's right here.
Oh. She's right here?
Yeah.
Dorothy? Is she sleeping?
Yes.
Okay. How long has she been sleeping for?
Like since 6.
What's the bag for?
She wets the bed.
She wets the bed. You gotta cover it like that.
Because of your rain, we'll open the window and stuff.
Okay, you pull the cover back for me?
Dorothy?
Why is she covered up like that, her face?
She's sleeping.
Alright, just step back for me. Is it Dorothy? Miss Dorothy?
Dorothy?
Why don't you got flowers and stuff on her like that?
So she's completely covered up. Her face is covered up, and she's got flowers on her. She's laying on the couch, very still, not moving, not responding. And this guy is acting weird and creepy.
Okay, step back. Step back.
She's dead, sir.
What do you mean she's dead?
She's dead. I was going to call her relatives in the morning.
Okay. Put your hands up.
The phone's in the room.
Put your hands up.
Alright.
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back. 5446. Y'all get another squad to my location. I'm the supervisor. Put your hands behind your back. You don't got any weapons or anything, right? See? Turn around. Don't even look at me. Hands behind your back. You're looking at me. Don't do that. Why you look? No, you're not gonna get shot, but you looking at me like that is kind of making me nervous.
On that 234 North
Stop looking at me.
Wilson and lower.
Don't do that. I'm telling you. Stop looking at me. You're gonna get tased. You hear me? Just letting you know. Don't do that. Alright? I got a taser right now.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
Okay.
Alright?
Please,
Alright?
you shoot me in the face.
No.
Please shoot me in the face.
No.
Her relatives. Call her relatives. Call her relatives, please. Tap you.
Don't.
Please.
Make that other squad 1017, please.
Please shoot me in the face.
45372, could you also respond to 2348 North Wilson and lower, 1017, 5372?
Shoot me in the face.
No.
Turn work.
Don't move. Just don't move. Put your hands up.
60,
Because you're doing too much moving and you're making me
I'm
nervous.
60, Seco for that.
Shoot me in the face.
No. Just don't move.
Seco. Temple. Report, show stone.
Okay, so at this point, I think he should have called for holding traffic on that channel. This is a high-risk scenario at this point now. He is by himself, and he is in a room with the person who is a potential killer, who could have killed this woman. The dude has basically locked them into this damn room by putting a brake rotor down at the door as a doorstop. And the guy is acting unusual, bizarre, not cooperating. He's resisting. He keeps looking back at the officer. That's a pre-fight indicator. All of what he's doing is pre-fight indicators right there. This guy is showing signs that he's ready to fight. His eyes, we can't see what his eyes are looking at. This officer could have an idea about what this guy's looking at, and those are telegraphing signs. If he's staring down at the officer's gun, then that's a pretty good clear indication that this guy is more than likely thinking about how he's going to get that officer's gun out of its holster. If he was looking for an escape avenue, if he was wanting to escape, he could have simply just gone through that door or gone into that open bedroom and barricaded himself in. This guy is trying to ambush this officer. Even before the revelation of the dead woman on the couch, him ushering and letting the officer go ahead of him and in front of him and all that, this dude was trying to find the perfect opportunity to bash this officer's fucking skull in. Especially at the very beginning when he had that brake rotor. I'm assuming that the officer had his head turned and was looking at the guy, even though the camera itself was pointing in another direction. Because remember, what the camera sees is not what the officer always sees. The officer could be having his head turned. And I think he probably had an eye on this guy, and this guy did not feel comfortable enough in initiating the attack. But this guy has all the signs of trying to get this officer by surprise, attack him. So this officer should have, in my opinion, at this point already called traffic or called for traffic to be held on the channel or hold the air or whatever, because this is a high-risk scenario at this point. And if he needs to be able to get out on the radio to say something, it needs to be emergent. He don't need other people tying up the air, talking about need a license plate check at this, or, blah, 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 that, blah, 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 this. That traffic needs to be held on that channel.
1034, take off the last.
On the ground.
Excuse me, 1034.
On the ground. On the ground. On your stomach.
You shoot me.
No, on your stomach.
Please shoot me.
Sir, on your
You
stomach.
gotta shoot me.
Okay. You're doing too much.
Okay, don't take that. Don't take that.
No, you're going to get tased.
Okay, I'm down. I'm down. I'm down.
Put your hands behind your back. Now. Hands behind your back. Behind your back.
So, command presence. This officer just now decides he's going to elevate his voice. I think that he should have elevated it long before that. We don't get to see what the officer looks like, so I can't comment on anything like that. But just the way he's acting and his voice kind of tells me that he was not establishing 100% command presence. I think that his mannerisms and his body language and his voice level was leaving some doubt in this guy's head. It was leaving some thoughts in this guy's head of, oh, well, I think I could take this officer. So, your voice alone is something that can be used to establish a command presence, to establish or assert your dominance, so to speak. And this is something that everyone's learned of and known of since childhood. Think of your parents, your teachers. When you started to get out of line, they raised their voice. It's like a universal tone, I guess you could say. When someone raises their voice in such a way, it signifies you better stop what you're doing or else. And that or else is implying violence. And violence is a universal language. Everybody understands that. I don't give a fuck what language you speak, or you can't speak at all. You're going to understand violence. Somebody raises their fist to you and starts me-mugging you. You know right then and there, don't fuck with them. So when you think about, someone holding on to something, kids, whoever, whatever, you say, put it down. Put it down. Put it down. Put it down. Like that just doesn't get their attention. Even if you just raise your voice and you're going, put it down, put it down, put it down, put it down. You're just raising that voice just a little bit, but it still doesn't have that behind it. Put it down, put it down, put it down, put it down! That will get someone's attention. And it's not just the voice, it's also your facial features. Looking pissed off, like you're full of piss and vinegar. That will trigger something in someone's head. Something very primordial. Very basic. And they'll either, depending on whether or not you've established that dominance and you look like you're the type not to be fucked with, they'll comply. Because they don't want no smoke. But if you don't come across as the type of person who will rip their fucking head off and shit down their throat, they're going to think they got a chance against you. Some people have that look of don't fuck with that guy. Some people just don't. And even if they don't have that look, there's still somebody you don't want to fuck with. But it's kind of one of those things of you find out by accident. Like, oh, I shouldn't have fucked with this guy. Damn. So that's why I said I can't really comment about, what he looks like, because we don't see what he looks like. He could look like the kind of person who you would look at and be like, they ain't nothing. Your mannerisms go very far. Just your body language, your posturing, that plays a key role in people's perception of you. So there's lots of stuff that goes into establishing that command presence, asserting your dominance in that. You becoming the fucking alpha in that area. This inability to do that, I think, in some instances, causes there to be officer-involved shootings. Because I don't think these people are taking the officer very serious. I think they are having thoughts of opportunity in their head because the cop does not seem like they're a undefeatable adversary. There's other people who look like they will literally rip your fucking heart out of your chest and eat it with a smile. Some people just have that look. And so when you look at some of these officer-involved shootings, and it's not all of them. Like I said, I think there's some of them that fall in line like this, where the perpetrator looked at the officer, said, "Nah, I can take them," and that's what happened. I think in those instances, if there was another officer who took that call, who had that squared away look, their mannerisms were on point, they established that dominance, they raised that voice the way they need to at the beginning, that the shooting never would have happened. The person would have been detained without incident. One good famous case that I can think of, that I think the person's looks and everything had a determining factor in it becoming a shooting incident, was the Ferguson incident. The officer against the black guy that stole the cigars or cigarettes or whatever. That officer, he looked dweeby to me. Like, I remember seeing pictures of him, and I'm like, that guy's a fucking dork. And then hearing him talk in the interviews, I believe that the suspect looked at him and was thinking, along the same ways. He was probably looking at this guy thinking, oh, this guy's a bitch. He ain't gonna do shit. I got him. He ain't about that. So establishing command presence, asserting your dominance, can go a long way in preventing things from happening. Not always. Some people are just determined to fight to the death. But a lot of cases, you can de-escalate that situation by making it appear as if you're going to fucking rip them a new ass. Some of it is just pure acting. It really is. All right, moving on.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Put your other hand behind your back.
What was the address again?
Your other hand behind your back.
348
Sir,
North Booth in the lower.
Stop resisting.
I'm not resisting.
Put your hand behind your back. Your other hand. Yep, put it behind your back. Don't move. What you gonna do? Stop! Stop resisting! Stop! 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 Stop!
Somebody kill you.
Stop! Stop!
Shoot me. You gotta shoot me.
Give me another squad here now!
You gotta shoot me.
Sir!
Right in the head.
Stop!
Right in the head.
You will be shot!
Right
Stop!
In the head. Right in the head, please. Right in the head.
Stop!
Okay.
Drop the pole!
Right in the head.
Drop the pole!
Right in the head, please.
Drop the pole!
Right in the head. Right in the head. Do it.
Drop the pole!
Do it right in the head.
Drop!
Do it in the head. Come on, right in
Sir.
the head. Please, right in the head. Right
Drop
in the head.
the pole,
right
please.
In the head. Right in the head. Come on.
Now I'm gonna have to shoot
right
you.
in the head. Right in the head. Come on. Do it, please. Come on, you don't know what I see. Do it.
Sir.
Do it.
Drop the
Do
pole.
it. You don't know what I see. Do it.
Sir.
Right in the fucking face,
Drop
man.
the pole.
Right in the face. Come on. Come on.
Drop the
Come
pole.
on. Right in the face, man. Please.
Drop the
Right in the face.
on the ground now.
Right in the face. Come on.
On the ground.
Make it quick.
On the ground.
Please make it quick. Okay. Don't tag me.
Drop it. Drop it. Now.
Right in the face.
Drop it.
Right in the face.
Drop it.
Right in the face.
Drop it.
Right in the face. Come on.
Drop it.
You gotta do it, man. Right in the
Drop
face. Right in the face.
the weight now.
Right in the face.
Drop the weight.
Right in the face.
Drop the weight.
Right in the face.
Drop the weight. Subject is at gunpoint.
Right in
You're
the
in that
face.
squad.
Right in the face. Come on. Don't let him take me, man. Don't take me, man.
What? Drop the weight. He said.
Kill me.
Kill me. Kill me.
Additional responding officers arrived on the scene and attempted to gain entry through the rear entry doors. However, the doors were locked. These officers breached the doors by kicking the doors. Upon entry into the residence, the subject continued to resist arrest and was taken into custody. Officers immediately summoned medical and activated emergency medical service EMS by rendering medical aid.
Subject is at gunpoint. You're in that squad. Yeah, call them out.
This one? Do it. Full strap. Give me your hand! Check that room. I got it. Hold on. Someone get medical now. Call for medical.
The officer involved in this incident sustained minor injuries and was transported to the hospital where he was treated and released. The officer was cleared by the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office for justified use of force. The Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office subsequently charged the subject with battery to a law enforcement officer, resisting an officer, and 2 counts of bail jumping. And 2 battery attorney's injuries. The officer involved in this incident sustained minor injuries and was transported to the hospital where he was treated and released. The officer was cleared by the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office for justified use of force. The Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office subsequently charged the subject with battery to a law enforcement officer, resisting an officer, and 2 counts of bail jumping.
So it doesn't say anything about him being arrested for murder or manslaughter or anything like that for the elderly woman. So that makes me wonder, like, how did she die? Did she just die of natural causes, and then this dude just fucking laid her on the couch and, you know, covered her up with blankets and put flowers on her like it was a funeral or a wake? I mean, I guess that's plausible, but I don't know. I wish there was some more disclosure or whatever about how'd this woman die. Stuff like this, I would have just chucked that shit down the stairs. Like, get it out of the way. He was about to give another power kick to that damn thing, and then it just, poof, comes open.
Full strap.
Full throttle.
I'm trying to pause it to see her on the couch a little bit better.
Full throttle.
So, yeah, she's literally just laying on this couch. Now, he says bag. I don't know, like, we can't see it very well. So I guess he has some type of bag under her. And this looks like her head, and it's covered with blankets or towels or something like that. In the earlier body cam footage, it looked like when he was leaning over, you could see like a flower laid on the chest area or something like that. Kind of like right in there.
Okay, step back.
That's just creepy as shit, man. He's like, she's dead. So, when I watched this video, I thought this officer came very close to getting himself killed. Came very close to getting himself killed. And rewatching it, the way that he's interacting and the way he's doing stuff, excuse me, it almost made me think of the Kyle Dinkiller case in Georgia back in the 90s. I just don't think that... I don't think this officer took control of that the way he should have. And I think that it went on for way too damn long with this guy having a deadly physical weapon and him using, before he used deadly force to protect himself. I think he should have used deadly physical force way sooner to protect himself, because he's by himself. He's alone. Ain't nobody else there coming to help him. He is alone. And potentially this guy has possibly killed this woman, which I guess at the end of this video, since they didn't mention he was charged with murder or anything, I'm guessing he didn't kill her. But in that moment, that officer don't know this. For all this officer knows, this dude killed her. And if he did that, he could be killing the officer too. So this was one of those videos that just, it's like watching a movie, and you're the main character, who's about to do something dumb. You're like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Oh, damn it. It's kind of like that when I first saw it. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, don't walk in front of this guy. Don't put your back to him. Don't you see that big-ass brake rotor? Like, what the fuck is he grabbing that damn thing for? Tell him to drop that shit. Pull your fucking gun out. This is one of those videos. It's frustrating to watch. But yeah. Yeah, that's it. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.